Hello, everybody. It's the Raven 425 here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be continuing our series of the Miami Dolphins 2020 roster breakdown. Today we're going to be looking at pass catchers, wide receivers, and tight ends. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to start the video off first with our number one offensive weapon, in my opinion, Devonte Parker. Right, last year he has this breakout season that we've been waiting for 5 years. They kept giving him chance after chance after chance, and finally it paid off. A couple things I want to talk about with Devontae Parker. One, the top 100 NFL list that just came out. I was shocked to see that he was not on it. You have the likes of DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, both had less stats than him. And I will be honest, I haven't watched their film, didn't watch them play, but there was no way they're making as many contested catches, insane catches like Devontae Parker was. He was the leading receiver in the AFC last year, yards wise. Um, Travis Kelce actually had more yards than him, but he's a tight end, which shows how dominant Travis Kelce is. But Devontae Parker did lead all wide receivers in reception yards in the AFC, which is pretty crazy considering our offensive line and quarterback. Although you guys know I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. What happened with Devontae Parker was last year with the new regime coming in with Brian Flores, he really changed his work ethic. Started working out more, changed what he ate, and you could really see that. He always had those physical skills. He just never really applied himself, and when he did, all that shined. Things to note, I noticed when I see Devontae Parker play, just insane route running. He's able to make men, corners turn around, get to the outside. You can see it even against Stephon Gilmore in that Week 17 matchup. Defensive Player of the Year made him look like a fool. I think he had like 80 yards catching, something like that, like 6 or 7 catches, something crazy. One thing with Devontae Parker and Preston Williams, I'll be talking about next, is as long as I've been a Dolphins fan, which I've been I watched every game since 2008 when I was around 10. I noticed that we never really had that clear number one receiver that could go on the perimeter and make contested catches. We always had slot guys. We had Devon Best, Brian Hartline, Jarvis Landry recently. We would always go out and try to get those guys like Mike Wallace and Brandon Marshall, but they would never pan out like they did earlier in their careers. And like last year was the first time we had a real true perimeter number one wide receiver, and we ended up having two of them. And the second guy is, of course, Preston Williams. He was a rookie last season. Just again, insane route running, insane catching. Uh, he could go up and make those contested catches just like Devontae Parker was. He was making quarterbacks look silly a lot of times. A couple of things to note though: drops. He dropped a lot of balls uh, last year. That's something he has to work on. He's a rookie, so he's going to have mistakes, and that is one area of the game where that he can really work on. There are some areas where you're kind of just born with it, but that is one that you can truly work on, and I expect to see better. One thing that worries us, of course, is his injuries, right? ACL tears, like different than different than other injuries, right? You can't just come back from it and expect to be 100%. So we hope that he's playing the same, if not better than what he was last year. But I think the realistic approach would be to expect maybe that his performance drops, which would be upsetting, of course. Next guy I want to talk about is Albert Wilson. So Albert Wilson, right? He is very hot and cold, right? There's some games you see him playing like, wow, how did we get this guy for such little money? Why did the Kansas City Chiefs let him go? And then the next game, he's non-existent. Next 3 games, he's non-existent. Um, Again, he's more of the slot guy. I can see him definitely being our slot receiver for this season. I think if they wanted to get rid of him, they would have done it already. So I could definitely see him being our slot guy. Just another thing with him is just like I said, the consistency. He needs to be more hot than cold, and injuries as well. He's had that problem with the hip, like Tua, and the hip is very easily aggravated. And Albert Wilson is going to be getting hit a lot more than Tua will, and yeah, we don't want that to bug him like it did last season. Next, moving on to Jakeem the Dream Grant. So one thing to note about him, he is a great return man, right? When he's healthy, he is so super fast, he's super agile, and is able to, return kicks probably one of the best in the league at doing so. It's just he's never healthy enough to do it for a full season, which is just his next thing. Is just he's injury prone because of how small, I guess because of how small he is. So we just got to hope that we can get a full season out of him. Anytime, I don't know about you guys, but anytime I see him catch the ball, I'm always afraid he's gonna get rocked. And every time he gets hit, it feels like he's getting rocked, because of how small he is. He's a giant. He's a man among giants when he's playing out on the football field. But we just need to see more work from him at the wide receiver position. And I have the tabs open here. I forgot to check them out. Let's look at their stats for Devonte Parker just to show you how much he improved. I mean, just look at his yardage. Previously, his career high was 744. He adds nearly 500 yards to that with 1,202 yards. I know stats aren't everything, but I still like to look at him just to show the amount of improvement he had. Had a career high 9 touchdowns, and of course, a career high in receptions was 72. So great improvement there from Devonte Parker. Preston Williams, looking at his stats, only playing in 8 games, 7.5 really, but almost with 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. He would have been well on his way to being the first undrafted rookie to have 1,000 yard season. I definitely could have seen him getting that, but of course, Devonte Parker wouldn't have been able to shine like he did. Moving on to the tight ends. One guy that really surprised me last year was a Mike Gesicki, right? I expected him to honestly be a bust in the NFL. When I saw him play last year, it looked like he was just tripping on himself. Like anytime he went for a pass, he was stumbling. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He doesn't know how to run routes. He's not a blocker. Just what is he doing out there? He's a giant, really, 6'6", 250, but he's very fast and agile, surprisingly. But last year, man, he really opened it up, especially in the second half of the year. Let's take a look at his stats here. Career high in yards and receptions with 51 receptions, 570 yards. Like I said, stats aren't everything, but you saw the catches he was making last year, insane contested catches. Ryan Fitzpatrick had 3 legit guys that he could throw it up and get 70-30 balls, not 50-50 balls with Mike Gesicki, Preston Williams, and Devonte Parker. And of course, having 5 touchdowns compared to his 0 last year. That's what he really needs to be as a red zone threat for us at 5, was it 6'5" or 6'6"? At 6'6", he needs to be that red zone threat we need. The two last guys I want to talk about at the tight end position are Durham Smythe. He was drafted the same year as Mike Gesicki. He's always been more of that blocker at tight end, which we need more of a pass catching tight end at the second tight end spot. I think that second tight end spot is going to be up between him and Adam Shaheen, who we just traded for from the Bears. He's a former second-round pick, a high second-round pick that we traded for a sixth-round pick. And I know the thing that the Dolphins do, just like the Patriots, we're going to be taking in guys that didn't work out elsewhere and trying to give them a second chance, especially these high draft pick talented players. So I'm anxious to see what he can do, as Adam Shaheen and Durham Smythe will most definitely be battling for that second tight end position. So I think the main thing here is we have a lot of talent at the wide receiver position, a lot more than anybody ever gives us credit for. Mike Gesicki is going to be a top tight end in this league. I can just see it. And then I think this year he'll break out even more so. The big thing is just staying healthy. We had 3 of our guys go down for the entire season last year, and Preston Williams, Albert Wilson, and Shaheen Grant. We're going to need those guys this year if we want to have a chance to actually make the playoffs. But yeah, I'm very excited for this to see this wide receiver core play again and see if Devonte Parker can keep it up as a true number 1 receiver and as one of the best receivers in the NFL, who should have most definitely been a top 100 player. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Who are you most excited to see play from the wide receiver core / tight end group? Do you have high hopes like I do? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.